Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We are making our evening connection through the wisdom. We know that every time you increase consciousness about anything that you're about to do, what it does to you, it gives you way more options to connect, gives you way more insight to the same thing you do. That's why the problem is that most of us get used to or get to be in the habit of doing things without increasing our consciousness about it. More you know about it, better impact, better connection, and much more influence can come out of you. So that's why it's important when we study and we not spare any details or any information that might be very important to our spiritual progression. I'm going to share today some secrets about from the Kabbalists about Passover, and there's countless amount, and every year I have like probably few hundreds of them that stays buried because, of course, from lack of time and so forth, we find that those secrets stays sleepers. Okay, so hopefully today and towards Passover, we will be able to reveal all of them. One, it's important to understand, it's not a holiday that we're talking about right now, that it is about specific group of people. What is standing in front of us today, facing Saturday night, it's a cosmic opportunity. It's opening every year in the same time. It doesn't change. The time doesn't change, right? It's always the 14th of the month of Nisan, which is the month of Aries. From the creation of the world, that moment was open. And for those of us, most people never really were able to connect up until that story appeared in Egypt. But Passover energy was open from the moment of creation to indicate for us that Passover is never about specific group of people. It meant for the world. It's from the creation of the world. Lechol ba'ei olam. All the people of the world. So right now, why when we're sharing this class about this specific, what we call it, quote-unquote, holiday, and I'm saying that this way because we got it wrong. Holiday is even spelled wrong in English. Holiday is from the word whole, circuitry. The entire world, the entire cosmos is created with windows and doors in time, such as new moons, Shabbats, and many other things that I share with you throughout the year. In this time, what is the opening in Passover, Pesach? It's in the month of Nisan, the month of miracles, the month of Aries, which is the first day, the first month of the year. This is actually Rosh Hashanah. When you need to actually say Happy New Year, they're talking about Nisan, the first day of the year. What we call Rosh Hashanah, it's the 7th month of the year, right? So why they say this is it, right? Now again, there's many, many layers and many different situations that we can go into it right now. But I chose few ideas, and if you have more questions, I encourage you to study that more. Just because we have a beautiful opportunity, I don't want to miss the opportunity and give us enough of what we need in order to access this, I like to call it the luxury. It's luxury that the creator of this world create for us to enjoy, almost like what we came here to do. Because we know that when we're talking about Rosh Hashanah or big holiday, for example, everybody heard Rosh Hashanah, and if in New York, you probably know what Rosh Hashanah means. It speaks about the quantity of the days that you're going to live in this year. Passover, Pesach, It's related and dictate the quality of your days. So it's not about how many days a person lives. It's a question of how he's going to live it. Is it going to be in prison? Is it going to be in slavery? Why the whole story of Egypt? We're not talking about Egypt because who cares about Egypt? All of us live like a victim, what they did to us in Egypt. It's not the way it is. Egypt is nothing to do with the location, the physical location. It's a spiritual concept that we need to learn how to use it. What is Egypt? Come from the word meitzar. Meitzar is narrowness. Tzar, narrow. When we are so fixated on what we want, how we want it. When we are so narrowed down to just, I want to see a tunnel vision. When we are so fixated on certain addiction that if I don't have it, I'm not happy. And if I don't have that, I'm not happy. Comes once a year an opportunity, what we call, that's why it's in the spring. Why is it in the spring? Spring you out of prison. It's nothing to do. Don't ever think that you are talking about Egypt some 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. We're talking about today. And that is what we want to awaken. Today, we are in prison of our own thoughts, in prison of our own desires, in prisons of our own addictions. That's the breakthrough we're looking for. And with the tools of these days, with the tool of the spiritual cosmic opportunity that we have, you can really make a complete shift in your life. So first, to understand that cosmic opportunity. Second is to start learning few tools that I can really do before coming Passover. Because once Passover comes in and you don't know the consciousness, it's done deal. It's a done deal. You are receiving another desire for the year, but it's going to be robotic. Unless you know how to control these types of energy. If you know how to use what we call whatever setup happening in that day. Because most people celebrating Passover around the world, or people who are not Jewish know that Jewish people doing it, it's never meant to be just for the Jewish people. It's meant to be shared. It's meant to be shared, this tool meant to be shared, meant to be a place where we can use these tools to allow people to get out of the robotic behavior. That's our own prison, when we cannot even see ourselves as great anymore. So please understand, it's an opportunity. For whatever introduction you have about Kabbalah, whatever you learn about Kabbalah, it makes no difference right now. What makes a difference is if you receive a few tools and you're already activating them in that day, or obviously before, but in that day, in that evening, you will experience a complete shift in this year. I'm not saying forever, okay? So first is few ideas that I like to share with you. It's going to take some kind of effort for us to be able to understand that later on. Pesach, it's come from the word Pesach, the mouth who speaks. Today, we don't doing sacrifices anymore like they used to do in the desert, they used to do in the holy temples, and still people in some kind of like places in the world, people still live by those rules of sacrifices, right? That is not happening. That is not happening anymore. Today the sacrifices is by prayer, a specific prayer, what's called korbanot, we speaking about it or reading about it, or through the food that you eat. Okay? So, and again, it's through the word. Sometimes it's to open up, sometimes it's to share something that's going on. This is part of what the work is being done today. You don't need to do any physical things like that anymore. So, once a year, what do we receive in an opportunity? This is huge. Every time during the year, let's say 6 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, even yesterday. Actually, yesterday and these days are very powerful, so yes. But in any other day throughout the year, that the person decides, you know what, I gotta change. I need to change. You need to know that if you are not desiring to change in the moment when the universe is open, your change will bring you right back to the same place. But changes that you make in the moment when the universe is open, it's a permanent change. In Passover, what do we get? What do we get? Very simply. To switch our desire. To switch our desire. From a human desire to a godly desire. Any other time of the year you want to change it, it's going to bring you back to the human desire. This time, if you have the right intention, if you have the right, of course, desire, you can switch between operating as a human, which most of us are here. That's why I showed you many different secrets, and I know some of you sometimes getting confused when we're speaking about numerical values and all of that. I'm going to speak a little bit about it, but to understand that we have the technology, how to do it. The technology. And I give you many, many different things that you will see like, oh my God. It's nothing to do with the physicality of the things. It's a technology of how to help us complete shift enough with the level of human desire, which is ultimately beautiful. But as an individual, as a person, as human, you are very, very weak unless you connected in with humans together. As I said before, human desires, when they are connected, it becomes godly. And that is what we want to shift today. I mean, not today, in Passover. In Passover, there's an opening. The Creator pouring on us. That's why He's sending all His best messenger. He's sending this biggest one, Eliyahu Navi, Elijah the prophet, right? To help us. Shifting your desire. Enough with the low level of desires. Enough with the low level of existence. We came here to become God. Godly. Not thinking about just about me in a small frame. It's a huge, huge opportunity that we all, and most of us, can elevate to that level that we operate as what we came here to do, to be the godly energy in this physical world. So it's a huge opportunity. So what are we changing? If you're changing it in that day, you make a decision. That's why we have a preparation this week. You can change the patterns of who you are and how life will run for you. From an external slavery to an internal freedom. Think about that. From an external slavery, my job, my position, my fame, how they view me, my looks, my body, my food, me, to a complete, because this is slavery. You know, to catch up with the, how you call it, to catch up with the Joneses, how they call it, you know, right? Pick up or whatever they say, the saying is. We always try to catch up with the new things and the new technology, and you have the new need. Enough. I want to achieve this week. This week is a very crucial moment, right? A complete inner freedom. Because if you're free internally, sure enough, you see how your life becomes free. How you free yourself from these bondages and from these commitments to this world and commitment that we are serving only our physicality, our body consciousness. So again, what is the opportunity? To get rid of the external slavery. And to achieve a complete internal feeling to be okay with how I feel. To expose who I am. Yes, I'm not perfect, but I don't need to hide it. I don't need to work so hard and so weird, to become so weird to hide what we're going through. Not to people to see. That's a big, big slavery in our reality today. That's why we all attached to this media and all of that. Second thing is, in this week, in this week. I'm going to run through as much as I can. Please bear with me, and if you have question, write it down, send it to me, or ask after. In this week, we need to really be aware of what we call, again, it's a little bit religious connotation, we call it, avodah zarah. Avodah zarah. Avodah zarah is what we call in English, it's called idol worshipping, right? Idol worshipping. So I started talking about it earlier, but I want to connect to the word avodah zarah, that if you make a literal translation to it, it's a strange work. You know, like when there's like, you know, like, how you call them, the people who are working, Ovdim Zarim? Yeah, how you call it? Strange workers. No, but the weird thing is, how did they give it a name, avodah zarah, a work that is estranged from your soul? That's what it means. Your soul is in a certain level. Our soul, our connection, our humanity level, it's completely different level than the way we're using it today. So one of the things that needs to happen this week, as you come to Passover, and once Passover entering, by the way, after midnight, that 24 hours window, it's cementing your desire, and it's a done deal for the whole year. Please be aware. You are cementing, the cement is poor. You know that if you're working in construction, some of you, when you pour the cement, done. Now you need hammers, now you need a lot of machinery to re-dig it again. So please, highly recommended, those of you listening in the house, or you got this little clip, whatever it is, make sure you're making a decision before it becomes cemented. And that is Saturday night to Sunday night. What is avodah zarah? What is this idea of working as an idol worshiper? Now again, in simplicity, because I can go on and on about it. In simplicity, my dear, it's all the actions that you've done, that you do, right? That not representing who you really are. It's estranged from you. It's not of you. You are not that person and you act in a certain way. That is the one thing that separates you from your light, from your God, from your Creator. So any work that you do that is not of or a connection to your spiritual form, you are in a different form. You create a new form of yourself which is estranged from you. So first of all, is to really examine our desires and how we act based on what I want. Is this the action that leads me to really where I want to be? Or it's because what I think that they want me to do, I'm doing it. Or if I'll do that, you're going to love me more? How many of us change because we wanted to be attractive for the other person or for the deal that we're looking for? How many of us, maneuvers or manipulate the situation so people will accept us this way? That is avodah zarah. That is a complete, but everybody's doing it. Play it, right? No. That separates you from who you are, from your ethnicity. So, one is that if you were the creator in this world, how do I know if I'm doing avodah zarah, idol worshipping? Ask before you're about the action, or any time this week, any behaviors that you usually have, any response that you usually do. If I was God over here, is that behavior that I'm doing right now, is it closer work of a creator as opposed to a slave? Think, just ask yourself the question. Am I operating now like a slave or like a master? Am I trying to be a master among people or mastering my own negativity? What am I trying to control? What am I trying to achieve? Am I getting closer to it? Anything that is not closer to where you want to be, it's called avodah zarah. It takes you away. You become estranged to your goals. So, let's say I give you more examples so you will understand more of that. Sometimes a lot of people getting, going into relationship because how it look like on the paper. They have a career, or they have this, or the age, or where they live, or who is their parents, and who is this and who is that. On the paper, many people get engaged or get connected on the paper, and then when they're all alone, chaos happening, craziness happening. Because they really did what we call the avodah zarah. They worked so hard to change themselves and how they are, because on the paper it fits. So we need to eliminate that, at least first of all to be aware of all of that, because 70% of your transformation is really dependent on your awareness of how you do things, how you live life in a lie. You call it a lie. We call it avodah zarah. As long as you continue every day you're still there and you're still quote unquote suffering and waiting, and nothing will happen. Anytime you're waiting. Today I had a conversation with somebody. He speaks to me about what is this whole idea of waiting? Waiting for a Messiah, right? We spoke about it. You wait for Messiah? What is that? You wait, you're going to wait forever. It's not going to come to you. You become a Messiah. You become that force of energy. You become the force of consciousness in this world. You're not waiting until somebody or something will appear. That is avodah zarah. That is a strange work. You become. You don't wait. And then you attracting. You magnetize it to your life. Okay? So this is the change that needs to happen. So, according to Kabbalah, every time I'm taking actions that are momentarily, temporary, relieving a certain pain, you are estranged from your godly energy. Anytime you behave this way. But for the moment I need it now. All the needs, all of that is not of the Creator. Therefore, you are doing avodah zarah. And more than that, I'll explain more. But that is why the Kabbalists instruct us before Passover to do bdikat chametz. Bdikat chametz. What does it mean? The checking of the chametz. What is chametz? We know that in the time of Passover, we want to be away or put away any leavened bread or anything that is leavened, anything that is rises. Okay? So you have like different things, different items of food that represent rises. For example, bread, right? Bread is when you eat bread, right? When you bake bread, it rises and rises and rises and rises, right? What does it represent? Bread? Ego. You just give somebody some attention, there you see them inflated. In Passover, for 7 days of Passover, highly recommended to stay away from that. Why? Because it represents ego. Anything that rises and inflated will give you more ego this year as opposed to give you more freedom. Because ego is total slavery. To protect your ego and to make your ego worthwhile, it's a slavery bind within itself. So in Passover, before Passover, we usually do cleaning. Cleaning? My house is clean. Why do I need to clean? Right? No, there's an extra cleaning. Why? Anything that you do before Passover, we call it in the language of Kabbalah, preparing of the vessel. Meaning you make a preparation, a proper preparation for your vessel to receive a complete transformation. Because if it's a little bit transformation, it's not happening. I want complete transformation. That should be the desire. And therefore, when you come to Passover, you can receive it if you prepare a proper vessel for that. A vessel that is not attached to what we call ego. And therefore, it's represented by the bread, the cookies that you have over there. Better for you to either take it out of the house, or for 1 week, or lock it up in a closet. That is not belong to you. Velo birshuti, it's not in my possession, right? Like you remove it from that, because in that 7 days, everything that you hold in your possession will be infused with that type of energy. So I don't want to be part of it. The Rav, my teacher, used to call it, is almost like a nuclear energy. It's very important. I don't want to be next to it, right? It's radiation. So first is when we're saying that it's a step that we're calling, we start checking. You check your clothes. Do I have a chametz? What is chametz? Chametz is that idea of level bed. I will speak a little bit more about it. Many years I'm speaking about different things. This year I don't focus on the chametz, but it's important for us to go through the checking. Bdika. What is the bdika, the checking? Is not I'm checking if the house is kosher, if my clothes have some bread in it. That's religion, I'm sorry. You want to do that in the consciousness of become a bodek. I want to be the one who bodek. Bodek is the one who checking, right? Listen to the consciousness. If you check every time before you take an action, where is my consciousness? What is my intention over here? Most of us don't have that power because we don't do that energy. We don't activate that energy before Passover. To become a bodek, to one who check my intention, check my consciousness, check where I'm coming from. Most of us, I'm a good person, I deserve. Wait a second, did you check? Did you were able to check your, what was your intention? No, because we don't have that strength. This is where you're getting it for entire year. To be a bodek, a person who is willing to look into things, who is willing to look into what do I need to change. Most of us, when things happening, what do? I know what they need to change. It's because of them. The pointing of the finger is an immediate thing. Instead of check, wait a second. A situation happened or not manifested the way I want. Don't look for whose fault is it. Right away have the strength to be a bodek, to check in. Check in. Internally. Not externally who and what manipulating me. And that is an energy that you receive by going through your house, through your car, through your clothing. Do I have any ego over here? Do I have any attachment to those things? Anything that you attach yourself in physical terms eventually become your limitation. It cannot be used as a vehicle for you to draw light. So, I want us to have that energy of checking, to check if I'm engaged, if I'm involved in avodah zarah, in something that is not of the nature of the light within me. Then, what is the idea that we need to check more? Is that to be connected to, instead of avodah zarah, avodah ruchanit, a spiritual work. Instead of a strange work or work or you do actions that is separate you from your light, you want to be connected to what we call spiritual work. What is spiritual work? In the story of Passover, it's called V'anachnu b'nei chorin. Right? There's a story we're reading, we're singing about it. B'nei chorin, right? We are the children of freedom, right? We're meant to be free. Most of us. If you take the word chorin, you flip the letters, you get the word ruchani. A free person is a person that can travel the spiritual world. Chorin is the word ruchani. You have to be understanding that without the essence of spirituality, everything else is prison. Without that, you are in prison. So really understanding the awakening a real spiritual work, not a strange or a real spiritual work, what does it mean? How do I do it? Very simple. There are people who come to study Kabbalah. I know. They're enjoying the study. It's so amazing. Wow. And you did this and you said that. It's amazing. I never heard that. Never that. All the people, everybody get excited about it. Trust me, from that point of view, everybody get excited about their wisdom. But they just study it. There's a difference between study Kabbalah and live Kabbalah. Live as all the Mekubalim. That is a complete different word. So, if you ask yourself, when do they get to talk to God or asking God for help? When things already exhausted all options, all Advils and all drugs, and now only God can help me with this pain. Right? And then they're going to go and I pray all day and then the pain gone, the spirituality gone. That's sadly what's happening in the world. We want in our connection today and build up for Passover that the world will do real spiritual work. By how? First of all, identify what's your agenda, study it. What are you really trying to receive out of your spiritual work? As long as you have a receiving out of your spiritual work, you're doing a strange work. You're doing avodah zarah. You're doing a work that is with the agenda, which is very small. Very, very small. I can tell you, so what should I do? What should we do? It's another thing, right? I'm going to speak about it. But first is if you can, check the work that you're already doing. The spiritual laws that you already decided to apply. Check, why am I doing it? What's my desire? What's my outcome that I'm looking for? What is the outcome? And if you need an outcome from that, it's not spiritual work, it's physical work. That's what it is. If somebody looking for a physical outcome from a spiritual work, there's a problem. It contradicts itself. It cannot work. I'm going to come to Kabbalah, I'm going to find my soulmate? No. I'm going to get more money? No. So why should I study it? That's why many people start and stop. Right? How many times we see those ways? Okay, I need to do it. For what? What purpose? Because that's what I was born for. That should be the reason. Not because I'm going to get some benefit from the bank manager or maybe Benjamin will introduce me to some investors or some other beautiful people. No, that's a given. That's an outcome that you don't even need to calculate. If you do what you're born for, definitely you will attract, you magnetize everything that the Creator wanted to give you from the beginning, which is what? Endless. Endless. I know I scream and I yell, but it's not on you. Just, we need to shift that energy out of this world. That's why. What we asking this year? There is something that we call, again, I'm using the words, I know some of you don't know, but if you have a question, you can ask. כל שאור וכל דבש לא תקטירו ממנו להשם. He says, every day actually we're saying those ideas, right? He says you cannot sacrifice, right? Or burn, they call it laktiru, to burn. Seor, it's yeast. You know what yeast? You know, there is the flour, and you put some water and you add some yeast. Yeast, that one is rises, right? And he said you cannot use the yeast or the honey, dvash. Honey as one of those things that you use to sacrifice or uses as a vehicle. Again, this is the literal translation. What does it represent? If my desire is se'or, what is se'or? Make myself important. Rises, expanding, right? Make myself, better than others. If my desire is only to le'atzim et atzmi, to enlarge myself in the eyes of others, what you end up doing, you are completely disconnecting yourself. If my desire is se'or and dvash, what does dvash represent? The honey, the pleasures of life. All what I'm looking for is to pleasuring myself. All what I do, I work so hard so I can take pleasure in this world. If all what I'm looking for that cannot be, a reality where you can nourish light. You are completely disconnected. Meaning, every time my desire is to enlarge myself, to make myself big, right? Se'o, which is to expand, or looking for hanaot, pleasures, or a little kavod, little respect, little honor from other people, right? What you end up doing, you disconnect yourself from real influence. Real influence. I'm not talking about, I have 50 likes or I have 5 billion people watching me. That's not the measurement. Spiritually, you're not measuring by numbers. As I said before, Passover is nothing to do with the quantity. It's to teach you the quality of life. And the quality of life is when you not elevate yourself in the eyes of others. Is when you really have a desire to influence with real light. That's why we receive Passover once a year. Pesach, as I said, is Pesach, but it's also the word lifsoach, to skip over, right? They call it Passover, right? Because God passed over the house where there was a blood on the door. Very beautiful, beautiful story. Beautiful story. That's not what it's about. We know the month of Aries. I spoke to you about it in the month of Aries, right? It's represented by the right leg, right? The energy of the right leg to really overcome, really skip over chaos. That's the month of Pesach. Pesach gives us the strength to really break through, to go above the limitation, to go above what limits me all these years. I'm getting the strength to completely remove it, complete shift. This is what I want. And therefore, in order to receive that, in order to do that, there's a very important idea. It's called, from Elijah the prophet, we learn in Melachim, he speaks about עד מתי תמשיכו לפסוח על שני סעיפים. Come Elijah the prophet, he says, why you guys keep dabbling in two things? Which means we call it, physicality and spirituality, right? Or, if you have a path, lifsoach, which means which one I'm going to, right? What does it mean? How many of us are still in the middle? We are not yet decided yet. I'm into Kabbalah, but I'm also this. I'm into spirituality, but I'm also that. I love my connection, but it's always something. I'm into that business, but I'm not sure if it's for me. I love this woman or the man or whatever it is that you're likable, but I'm not so sure about them. I want to have, but I'm not sure I have it. He says, Pesach come and check. There is, those chiropractors that doing, raise your hands and then they pull it down? That's what's happening in Passover. The Creator comes and says, listen, you know how much I have for you? You know how much I'm breaking you free. I'm springing you out of all chaos and all negative thoughts, you're done. You're free. You're free to go. Yeah, but I'm not so sure. So you check the polls. And you realize, oh, you're still posach al shnei seifim. You're still a mediocre. Okay, stay there. I'm a little bit good, but I'm a little bit bad. I want to be good, but I'm still want to keep my own little bad. That is not making a connection in Passover. So please, to whatever degree you can make decision and you really penetrate that, and you're choosing, because achlata, decision, that's what it stands for. If your decision is also a mix, it's not a strong decision. You know, you can't plant a seed and then 2 days later, let me take it over here. And I like this plant over here. Let me take it over here. Let me take it over here. It's not going to grow. Nothing will be developed. You can't be in the middle, my friend. I'm so sorry to tell you this. I don't want to disappoint you. But that's why you are so robotic the whole year, the same thing. Make sure you make a decision. Which seif I'm going to? Which one? Am I using Passover and completely skip over complete limitation, or I'm still stuck in where I think I should be? Decision, it's a very important key in Passover. Then, last thing, okay, it's good. I mean, there's so much, but maybe if we have a chance to continue after, maybe, let's see. In Passover, in that night, there is what we call a ke'ara, a tzalachat, a plate. In that moment, right? And in that plate, there are many different items. And many people think that, we would look in it, for example, think about the one little, very much clear question. Which on the side, during the Passover, there's like the 4 kushiyot, the 4 questions, which I'm going to speak about it at the last point. But first, talk about the plate. Ke'ara, it's called ke'ara. It's not ke'ara, it's a plate, it's salachat. Why do they call it ke'ara? Ke'ara is a code. Ke'ara is a plate that all the items are there. The ke'ara have items, okay? Different items that is actually has to be structured, the ke'ara, like what we call the shield of David, the Star of David, they call it, I don't know where the star they get it, but it's called the shield of David. Magen David, shield of David. Why shield of David? Because the Ke'ara represent the physical world, where everything is manifested. The Ke'ara, the plate, represent Mother Nature, the land, the soil, right? If you plant a seed in the soil, is the soil argue with you? You're not such a good person, I'm not going to give you the fruits. No. You put one seed in Mother Earth, she gives you 10-fold, 1,000,000-fold more. Without any question, without any doubt, without anything in return. How many of us, when we plant something, we're looking where it's going to get? In Passover, please ask to become like the plate that feeds enormous amount of light to the world. I want to be like that. Why? Because it represents what we call the world of Malchut. That's why Ke'ara, if you flip the letter, you get the word Akara. Akara is a woman who cannot bear children, at least temporarily, right? That's the same word. Why? Because this world called Malchut, it cannot have lights of its own. It needs us to feed light to this world. That's why we came here, to become the bridge. And therefore, in Passover, you need to ask for it, demand for it, decide to become the person who feeds, right? Who remove the, is there a word, akara, cannot bear a child? Barren, right. So I want to change this world that is barren, it cannot handle anything unless I feed more and more spirituality to this world, more and more become a channel in this world to this reality. And another thing is, we know that Ke'ara in America value 375, right? We know we have how many days of the year? 365. right? That's what we call robotic. 365 is robotic. The Kara come and tell you, no. I give you the 10 items. That's why when you build the charoset, I'll share more when I have chance, but there's a certain item we're eating, it has to be built from 10 different ingredients to indicate, so you're connected to 10 sfirot, the 10 levels of the tree of life. So you can completely have the year work for you, as opposed to you a slave to the year, to the 365. That's what the Kara, just a little item that is there in that night, receive to become a channel for us. Also there's another thing that we call it, we see an egg. I always, every year growing up, why do we have egg here? You don't even eat it sometimes. Just sitting there. What is the egg? Egg represents something very unique, right? Everything that in this world you warm, become what? Soft. Melt. Right? When you heat something, egg become hardened. Why? Because egg represent what we call in Aramaic, it's called bi'ah. Bi'ah is desire. This day, this little egg, you would think, oh yeah, it's very nice and I'm vegan, I don't eat eggs, Nothing to do with eating. It's a channel. Like you a channel in a moment, like everything in this world is a channel for light. Here, you increasing, you hardening your desire. You receive the opportunity. That's why it has to be a boiled egg. Boiled egg, right? Has to be this way to indicate for you that you need to draw and to harden your desire, not to have a weak desire. Strong, hard, tough desire. Not to be broken by any little wind that comes. You have over there let me go back to the word charoset. You have the word charoset. Charoset is from the word cherut, freedom. Those 10 items in that certain dish that we're creating over there, right? It's different spices, different nuts, different this, right? Each one of those items help us when you connect to it in that night. Any other time of the year is just a sweet types of spread. In Passover, it's nuclear. It's nuclear. Take matzah. What is matzah? The matzah, the cracker. Besides stomach ache, no reason to eat it. Right? Why you eat it? It's really constipation for people. They all speak about it. Very unique power. Very unique power. Because you see, bread is rices, matzah is no yeast. What does represent during the week? If you take the flour by itself is like today in Passover it's negativity, okay? Which we all have negativity. The problem is not with our negativity. The problem is with what? With the yeast. With the yeast. That same situation can be solved in easy way, even though it's negative. But yeast, what is yeast? Drama. Expanding. Let's make it more chaotic. Let's make it that everybody will know how a victim I am. Let's know how they took advantage. Let's speak even more evil. Try to speak to a friend of yours about evil tongue about somebody else. You see, you're always exaggerating. Because you think that it's not enough to tell that they did something bad, you need to increase. You see, that's the yeast. You have to take it away from your life. Okay, this is what it is. So that's why when you eat matzah, no ego, flat, right? In that day, 7 days, you eat that matzah, right? What you're gaining is an opportunity to increase a desire, but less with ego. Less ego involved. That's matzah. So what do you want to connect in the matzah? Okay, the matzah have also another code. Mitsui. Mitsui. What I mean? Mitziti et ze. What does it mean? Most of us riding on something until we completely wipe it out. Mitziti, I took advantage, I took the juice out of it. Have you had an argument with somebody that is like take the juice out of you, right? Or a topic, sometimes if you're in a relationship, right? Sometimes you have a topic that you, mitzinu, we dissected already. There's nothing to draw anymore from that, right? That's the ego. That's the ego. That's different relationship that you're keeping in your life for what? Different names on your phone books for what? Phone books, no phone books, your phone thing. Oh, I have 1,000 contacts. Oh, I have 5,000. Oh, wow. מיצינו את זה. We already dissected. We already went through it. Why to dig in again? The matzah give you the strength to eradicate the unnecessary. That's what it is in that night. You know, many people think we eat matzah because we didn't have time in the desert. So rush to make it. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely way wrong. If a people know how to read Hebrew, open the Haggadah and read. And you read it in that night. It says, Hamatzah halachmaniah, the matzah, the bread, that we ate, sha'achalna b'mitzrayim. That we ate in Egypt, not in the desert. Not outside Egypt. Moses instructs the nation already to be practicing no ego. That's what it was about. He told them, you want to be free? We can't go out of this Egypt because Meitzah, right, small place, if you're still stuck with your ego. That's what it is. He trained them already in the matzah consciousness. That's what it is. Again, there's so much more beautiful things. And the last thing is, as I said before, is the idea of the kushiyot. The asking, there's so much. You know what? There's a moment over there you're going to eat. You're going to see a lettuce called karpas, or whatever, the lettuce or the little parsley, whatever they call it. You know, cilantro, whatever it is, the name, I don't remember English, but you see the karpas, it's the word for parech, right? Karpas, you've stripped it, parech, all the slavery. It gives me the ability to get rid of slavery in my life. It's nothing to do with that physical item. And there's each one of them, complete technology. So the last thing is the kushiyot. When you go, and a lot of us connected to it. There was 4 different questions. I'm not going to get into it now, those questions. But if you want, you can study a little bit more. But it's a beautiful understanding. One is that many people in this world have many kushiyot. Too many questions. You know what I'm talking about? Meaning you're not minding your own business. You're asking questions, too many questions about something that is unnecessary for you and is none of your business. So first, I recommend in those times when you read the kushiyot, this is the opportunity for you to really be able to strengthen yourself, not to fall to unnecessary questions. Unnecessary questions in life, or doubt about things, or I have a question about God, you know. What are you talking about? The question you should have and you want to receive in Passover is very, very powerful. Because first of all, I'm canceling all the unnecessary questions and I'm connecting to certainty. If you have certainty, there's no question. It's just, if I have certainty, you know, I'm just going for it. So ask yourself, with the power of questioning, why am I here? Show me in Passover, show me why am I in this world, right? Show me what is this work is about. Show me what is this difficulty is about. Receive the power to ask tough questions, not easy questions. To learn to ask, because if you don't know what you're asking, you're never going to get it. So remember, asking the wrong question give you the wrong answers. That's how it goes. So no matter how many times I'm asking, I need the strength to keep asking no matter what. I'm here to ask. You're sitting in Passover in that night, even if you don't do anything, just sit in that night for 24 hours and ask. Even if you just did that. I want to ask to take responsibility for the world. I want to ask for perseverance. I want to ask for discipline. I want to ask for seriousness. I want to ask to focus myself on what's important and not what's not important. I want to ask to be in consciousness of every connection that I make. I want to ask not to more easy, but be better. Improving myself. I want to ask to improvement. I want to ask in that night to shorten the space between people, to close that space between people. I want to ask to be the person who get people closer. That's what Passover is about. Human desire, when they are connected, they become godly force in this world. So you need to ask, and also ask your merit to be connected. Also ask if you can spread this wisdom from you and on. These are the things that you want to use. I want to ask for help from Elijah the prophet. Come and help me the whole year to eliminate chaos from the world. Now, I'm going to pause here. I appreciate the time together. This is a very important time. I can continue on and on for a few hours right now. But please take whatever you learned, whatever you understood, whatever got into you, that should be your connection in this year. You don't have to do all of it. Okay, but make sure you have awareness in that day. You don't go and you do what you usually do. We're sitting around and only the old person in the table is reading some material that we don't, in a pamphlet they give you. No. Spiritually connecting. The items are technology. You want to know more. You didn't get something out of it, please. And we have a much better year coming to us this time around. So thank you so much, everybody, and have an amazing holiday and amazing rest of the week. Thank you.